what's going on, guys? It's FPL Yusuf and welcome back to another video on my YouTube channel. Today we're going to be going over my game week 3 final team selection, where I show you guys my starting 11 that I'm going to be going into the game week 3 with. We're going to go over some captaincy choices. Is Erling Haaland the best captaincy, or is there other possibilities we could go to? And I'm going to show you guys one transfer which I'm looking to confirm by the time we get to Saturday's deadline. So without further ado, let's get into the video. Okay, welcome back, guys. Thank you so much for being here today for another video on my YouTube channel. Before we get into this, if you wouldn't mind dropping a thumbs up and subscribing down below, it would be greatly appreciated. So, game week 3, we are nearly at the deadline now. As you guys can see, I'm going to put my team up on screen for you. We're currently sitting at 215,000th in the world, which it's not bad after 2 game weeks. We've got 1 free transfer this week and 0.5 million in the bank. So, my team, I've gone with a 3-4-3 this week, which is something which I haven't played yet. I haven't started with a 3-back so far this season. Both times I've had 4 defenders. In goal, we're going to start with Nick Pope. Now, when I brought him in at the start of the season, he was just a set and forget. I knew, obviously, that Newcastle had Tottenham in this fixture. To be honest with you, Newcastle historically have quite a good record against Tottenham, so I wasn't really worried about it as such. However, as the season started, Spurs going forward have looked decent. Newcastle as a team, maybe not as much. But, you know, sometimes forms go out the window on certain fixtures. And I feel like this, for me, is one of them where Newcastle just sometimes seem to just get the better of Spurs for whatever reason. So, yeah, Nick Pope is going to be my set and forget keeper. Gone for a 3-back, like I said, this week, which is something which I haven't played yet. So, we're going to start off with Trent. Trent, for me, is just a non-negotiable. I think if you own him, you play him in every game, irrespective of the fixture. You know, whether it's Arsenal, Man City, whether it's Ipswich or Southampton, I think Trent's just one of those players that you just set and forget for 2 reasons. Number one, he always has a chance of attacking threat against anyone. You know, he's just so good. Chances he creates, also the goal threat he possesses. But 2, because I think Liverpool are looking a little bit more solid defensively this year, and I do expect them to keep some more clean sheets. You know, only them and Arsenal started off the season with two games and 2 clean sheets. So yeah, they've started off the season like they mean to go on. Obviously, Man United will be a little bit more of a difficult test for them. But yeah, for me, Trent just is one of those players that you just sort of put in there and just set and forget. Then we come on to the other 2 in defence. We've got Saliba, again, kind of just no nonsense with it. You just sort of pick him. You know, you imagine Arsenal will keep clean sheets against anyone, so he just goes straight in. And the third one is Anthony Robertson. Now, Ipswich away, I don't think is easy as it sounds on paper. As we saw in the first game against Liverpool, they are a decent force at home, and especially, you know, if for that first half against Liverpool, they were excellent and they matched them man for man. So yeah, I don't think it's necessarily going to be an easy one. I don't actually know if I expect Fulham to actually keep a clean sheet, but Robertson's one of those players that you pick just because of his attacking threat. You know, as we saw last week, he picked up an assist and got himself into bonus points. So if he keeps a clean sheet, he's probably going to get into bonus points. Same thing if he gets an assist or attacking return. Usually he's quite good for BPS as well. So yeah, that's why we're going to pick him. He's a 4.5 that, you know, we knew we'd have to rotate at some point between him and Munoz. So yeah, for me, Robertson's going to be the 3rd choice in defence for this week. Okay, so onto the midfield now. Saka kind of goes without saying. He's going to be one of the captaincy choices we talk about later on in the video. Emil Smith-Rowe, same thing. I'm a little bit more uncertain around Smith-Rowe as I was last week. Obviously, you know, he didn't even make the 70-minute mark, which I think we kind of almost expected at the start of the season. So that's not my biggest worry. I do wonder if Smith-Rowe's not being a focal point in the game, does he kind of just drift in and out between games where he's maybe not as effective? Now, I think there's quite 2 contrasting sample sizes. You know, the first week against Man United, he was one of those where he had 0 XG, like genuinely 0. Didn't get involved in the game at all. But then the second game, you know, they played last week, obviously got himself on the score sheet. So I'm in around Smith-Rowe. I still do think he's one of the better 5.5s, maybe even the best 5.5, but I'm just not sure about him as a long-term pick. I think after this week, I'll be looking definitely to get him out, especially if I play my wild card. I do think he's going to be a player that I look to move on quite soon. Jota is the other man who we're going to talk around captaincy to rival Erling Haaland this week. And despite the fact he only plays 70 minutes, his explosivity just, for me, puts him as a firm choice. And, you know, he's almost the same as Trent, where Jota can score against anyone on any given day. So for me, I'm not worried about owning him. You know, he's got up in price already. He's at 7.6. I would expect if he scores again this week for him to go up again over the international break. So yeah, just keep an eye on that if you're looking to move to Jota. But for me, yeah, he's just one of those players that you just keep in the starting lineup. And finally, the other one is Morgan Rogers. Now, this is one player that I'm actually excited to have in my team this week. So the first 2 weeks, obviously, he was on the bench. Now, there was a lot of talk around Morgan Rogers in pre-season. And then I think as we started getting closer to the deadline, a lot of people started having cold feet on him just because they hadn't really heard much about him. He wasn't, you know, Aston Villa weren't really performing towards the end of pre-season. However, as we've seen from the first two games, he's played 90 minutes in both matches, and both matches he's looked exceptional. Arsenal, last week he was fantastic. Villa's player of the match, definitely. The game in the first week against West Ham, again, played the whole game through, looked brilliant at times, and now Aston Villa come into their run of good fixtures. So yeah, for me, I'm happy that I went for him. I'm happy that I took the gamble on him at the start of the season. I think, over the course of the next few weeks, you'll see a lot of people move to him. One, because he's a cheap enabler, but two, because of the fixtures Aston Villa have. So yeah, if you've got him, he's definitely a start for the next couple of weeks at least anyway. Now on to the forwards. 2 out of the 3 are confirmed. Erling Haaland is, as you guys can see, my current captain this week. West Ham away, I think it was 2 seasons ago when Haaland played it. I think his debut was against West Ham away and he bagged a brace. So he has pedigree in this sort of fixture. For me, he's coming off the back of a hat-trick, and he just looks in brilliant form. He said it himself. He's feeling fit. He's feeling fresh. So when you're hearing it from the man himself, Pep's come out and said the same thing. It's hard to go against him on certain weeks, and I don't know if this is one of the weeks that it's a smart choice to go against him. We're going to discuss that later on in the video, but yeah, for me as of right now, he is my captain. Havertz, again, same thing as Saka. Kind of the focal point to how Arsenal attack. I want a piece of that Arsenal attack, definitely. Saka, he's going to play out wide on the right. Havertz is through the middle as the number 9. Now, Arsenal have been linked to some number 9s as we sort of draw towards the end of the transfer window. Now, if they do manage to pick up someone, whether it be Osimhen, Gyökeres, Darwin even linked, so if they do manage to get another attacker, maybe there's room to have a look and just ask, is Havertz as nailed as we think? But right now, 100% Havertz is going to play, and he's probably going to play 90 minutes as well. So I'm happy having him up front. The last forward I've got in this is currently, as you guys can see on screen, is Alexander Isak. However, I'm going to come on to my transfers in the next section. I think that position is going to be Ollie Watkins, and he also then comes into the hat for a captaincy option. So as of right now, as me recording this, I haven't made a change yet. Isak is still in the team, but I am 95% sure, my favourite number there, I'm 95% sure that it will be Ollie Watkins come Saturday's deadline. Okay, so my potential transfers now, as I just touched on there will, if I'm going to make a transfer, there will only be one this week. It will be my free transfer. I have the money in the bank to move Alexander Isak up to Ollie Watkins. Now, I think on paper, this decision makes sense for so many reasons. Now, before we started the season, this was the transfer that I penciled in. I don't usually like saying, right, on a certain game week, I'm going to move this player in because anything can happen. However, it just made sense. I think all of us thought Isak would get off to a flying start. Then, Newcastle's fixtures swing a little bit, whereas Ollie Watkins' fixtures also swing, but for the better. Now, Watkins, the first 2 games, obviously hasn't played 90 minutes, which was a little bit of a concern, but I'm going to put it down to fitness issues. And, because he didn't have a preseason with Villa, that's what I put that down to. I expect him to play nearly 90, if not 90 minutes this coming week, and so on for the rest of the season. Now, what a game to play him 90 minutes for against Leicester. Leicester, no disrespect to them, but they haven't started the season that well. They look quite open at the back. Watkins come off the back of 2 big misses against Arsenal. Maybe one of them you could argue Ray made a fantastic save, but he should have. Point being, he should have come away with a goal. Probably should have come away with a brace, if we're being honest. Now, I think if Watkins gets those chances again, I don't think he's missing them, and I don't think he's going to miss them against Leicester. And to be honest with you, I do think Aston Villa are going to get chances. Now, like I said, I had this transfer plans penciled in, and I don't really want to deviate away from the plans. I think at the time of recording, it's currently Thursday morning. I might wait Friday because, like I said in one of my previous videos, I think Watkins is surrounding that price drop. So if I can get him for a point mil cheaper, then I will do. It's just providing, obviously Alexander Isak doesn't drop, which I don't think he's anywhere near dropping. So yeah, for me, I think this coming game week, by the time we get to Saturday's deadline, I think Ollie Watkins will be transferring for Alexander Isak. As you guys can see underneath on potential transfers, I've also put wildcard game week 4 question mark. The closer we draw to the end of this game week, and especially the start of international week, I'm liking the idea of a wildcard game week 4 so much more. Now, like I said in my previous video yesterday, I think it was, I'm going to do a whole video on a wildcard through the international break. But my one thing is that if you know that you're guaranteed to wildcard straight from game week 4, do it as soon as this game week finishes, because with a wildcard, obviously through international break, we've got 2 weeks. So you've got chance to catch certain people's price rises, bring them in before they go up by 0.1, get them out before they go down by 0.01. So there's a lot of benefits to hitting a wild card through an international break. So for me, if I am going to do it, then I'm probably going to do it straight after this deadline. So yeah, it's just one thing to sort of consider. But like I said, I'm going to do a proper video in that through the international game week, talking about a game week 4 wildcard, and I might do a game week 6 wildcard too, just because I know those are the 2 sort of favoured options for wildcard usage so far this season. Okay, so captaincy options. Now, for me personally, if, like I said, I make the Watkins transfer, I think there's 4 viable captaincy options this week. That's Erling Haaland, Ollie Watkins, Bukayo Saka, and Diogo Jota. Now, this on screen, there's no particular order, but I'm just going to start from left to right. I've got Haaland on the left. He probably is my number one captaincy choice. It's Erling Haaland. He's playing for the best attack in the league. You know, like I said, he's scored a brace on his debut in the same fixture. I don't think West Ham have been necessarily amazing so far this season. They've been all right, but I don't think they've been amazing. I do think there's room for Haaland to get his opportunities there. So for me, as of right now, he is my captain. Ollie Watkins, if I had known that Ollie Watkins is going to play 90 minutes, I think it's 60-40 split in between Haaland and Watkins. Just my uncertainty around Ollie Watkins' minutes, and if he does get pulled off again, you know, maybe this time he plays, say, 75, 80 minutes. For me, there's just something about having a player who's going to play all the way through the 90 minutes, and especially that sort of last 5-10 minutes before the game ends. Sometimes there can just be chaos in the game, and you kind of want, especially a striker, you want them on the pitch in case they get an odd chance here or there. So I think if I knew Watkins was going to play 90 minutes, I think, like I said, it'd be a 60-40 split between him and Haaland. Because I don't, I think I just have to dampen that expectation a little bit. My thing is that even if I have Watkins in and he scores, you know, or he gets a brace, I'll be happy just owning him because I don't think he'll be massively owned. I think he'll probably be around the 30-35% mark, which, you know, from how assets are split up this year, it's actually not too bad. So yeah, Ollie Watkins is on there for me. Bukayo Saka also there. On penalties for Arsenal, has that route to the point. I think everything Arsenal do is so imperative with how he plays. And I think he is quite a big factor in how Arsenal attack. You know, last week didn't have the greatest game, but still managed to come away with an assist. You know, Arsenal, it was quite a cagey game between them and Villa, as you kind of would expect. But, you know, Bukayo Saka once again getting himself on the score points, getting himself an assist. That's just what he does. He reminds me of Salah in that way a little bit, where even if he's not playing the best, there's always a chance that he returns with something, whether it be an assist, a penalty, whatever it may be. So yeah, Bukayo Saka's on there. And last but not least, Jota, who actually I think is the most explosive on this list. Now, Man United and Liverpool is always a tetchy one because you don't know what way the game's going to go. Either, you know, we've seen in the past that Liverpool have just absolutely run riot there, you know, Salah in particular. We've seen, you know, other times that Man United have made it really difficult for them. So the reason why I put him all the way on the far right, which, like I said, there's no particular order here, but if I was going to choose someone to be last on this list, it probably would be him. He's the biggest gamble. It's always a high risk, high reward type thing. Jota could blank and be pulled off after 70 minutes, or he could end up with a brace after 70 minutes and you're walking off laughing. So it is a tricky one this week. I think at the time of recording, like I said, Haaland probably will be my captain, but I am definitely considering Ollie Watkins if I do bring him in. Okay, thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you have enjoyed it, don't forget to drop a thumbs up and subscribe down below. I just want to say thank you guys so much. We finally hit 50 subscribers, which means I think I can now live stream on YouTube. So I might actually do a deadline day stream this Saturday morning. So yeah, I just want to say I'm so grateful and just thank you all so much. Whether you come and, you know, you watch the video, you drop a thumbs up, if you subscribe, just thank you all so much. You know, it's taken a little minute to get here, but you know, consistency and, you know, we've made it here. So I just want to say a massive thank you to every single one of you who, you know, continue to watch the video and show support and love on it. I will be back, I think, next week now. I'll do like sort of little review of game week 3 and how it got on. Obviously, like I said, I'm going to do some wildcard drafts for you guys, you know, for game week 4, game week 6. So we've got a lot of content going to be coming through the international break. But like I said, thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you have enjoyed it, don't forget to drop a thumbs up and subscribe down below. And I'll catch you guys next time.